Hey YouTubers and travel trailer enthusiasts, this is Chuck Carey with another YouTube video about DC to DC chargers and why you'd want to put a DC to DC charger in your travel trailer to charge your batteries or in your truck to charge your batteries. And in most cases it's because you have lithium batteries. Lithium batteries, because they represent a lot more amp hours of storage, and you'll get a lot more out of them as far as your camping experience is concerned on one charge. That is also demands a lot of ability to recharge that back up. And going from one campsite to the other, if you just have a 7-pin charge from the regular plug that you put in your vehicle, it's probably not going to get you there. It's probably only putting out maybe 1 to 5 amps, and it's just not going to quite be sufficient enough to recharge your battery. So a lot of people have gone to the DC to DC charger, and that's what this video is all about. How to install one, maybe some of the tricks and maybe some ideas that will help stimulate some of your ideas on putting in a DC to DC charger for your lithium batteries. So stay tuned and we'll talk more about that. I opted for a Renogy battery charger, a DC to DC charger. And the reason why I liked the Renogy, besides the fact that it was the least expensive for the amount of rechargeability, I think I bought mine on a Black Friday for just a little over $100, but the next real competitor, I guess, is a Victron, which is a lot more money for about the same capability. So mine will put out 40 amp hours, or 40 amps, I'm sorry, and also has the ability to reduce that in half to 20 amps. And the reason why you'd want to do that is to throw the switch to 20 amp is if you felt like you were taxing your alternator. Of course, anytime you use an alternator, there's some resistance, and resistance means gas mileage. And this is not one of those free things. You know, alternators putting out that much power, so let's just use some of it. And that's not the case. If you're utilizing power, then it's not free. It's going to come out of your gas mileage. So by reducing it from 40 amp to 20 amp, you're going to save some fuel, about half as much. So that's the reason why you have that flexibility with the Renogy, and I like that. Also, Renogy's DC to DC charger that I purchased recognizes lithium and can handle a charge for lithium, which is great. I mean, that's the reason why I'm buying it, is for a lithium battery. So you want to make sure that your charger has the capability of sequencing the charge if you have a lithium battery. And then, of course, their reputation and their warranty, and it was just a slam dunk for me for Renogy. But my travel trailer and my lithium setup is probably not as big as some people. I think if I had a larger bank of batteries, I might opt for a Victron or a different kind of charger. But in this case, this one just fits it perfectly for what I need. So that's what we're going to be talking about, is installing a Renogy 40 amp DC to DC charger. You can put them in the trailer, you can put them in your truck. Renogy suggests you put them as close as possible to the leisure battery part of it, which means a lot of people put them in the trailer or in the back of the truck. I mean, they can be put under the bonnet, underneath the hood. They can be put inside the cab, and we'll talk about all of that and how you might be able to save a little bit of money with the installation. So stay tuned. So what size wire do I need? Well, it all depends a little bit on where you put your charger. If your charger is in the front underneath the hood of your truck, and you're running a wire from that, the output side of that charger, all the way back to your Lithium battery that might be, you know, in the camper someplace way in the back, you'll need a pretty good size cable because of the resistance involved. And the other way, if you are running a cable from the battery, the vehicle battery, all the way back to your charger that might be in the trailer, that's going to be a massive cable. It's going to require probably a double-aught cable and a very expensive cable at that to run it all the way back with the couplers and everything that's required for that. Now, if you put it where I chose to put it, which is in the about halfway between the truck, less than 10 feet or 10 feet or so from the battery, then you can use a 6-gauge wire according to the chart in the Renogy manual. And then the cable going out the other side can be 6-gauge because it's going to the bumper, and then it's going to go on to the Lithium batteries that are on the tongue of my trailer. So that's a way to save some money, is to reduce the overall cable size by positioning the charger in between, in the middle of your project. And so where I've opted to put my DC to DC charger is right back on this back seat of my rig. I have a crew cab, and so this split seat, the smaller split seat on the driver's side, it fits back there just really nice in the back. There's a lot of room back here for air in case this gets warm. And they call for this amount of space around the unit as well. I mounted it on a board, and underneath the board I can't even get it up because it has a Velcro. There it goes. There's a Velcro strip under there that holds it against the carpet so it doesn't shift around. And plus the wires coming up here, actually these are the wires going back. The wires coming up on this side work out really well. So I found that underneath the seat here and underneath the carpet, you'll find a hole that is a round hole in the bottom that goes all the way down underneath the truck. And I think that was originally probably designed because I think this truck in particular had the option to put speakers or something underneath here. And there is a ton of different harnesses, empty harnesses and holes in the truck that have plugs in them for that speaker. So this is going to work out really well doing this. Once I button this all up, I'll show you another video of what it looks like, or what it doesn't look like, let's put it that way, after I get it all put back together. But anyway, this is going to work out extremely well for my Renogy 40 amp DC to DC charger. And so we're right about in the middle of the truck here. So it's going to be just about right for distance, and that will allow me to use the 6-gauge wire. Okay, let's talk a little bit about wire. I don't know if you've priced wire these days, but man, it's really expensive. It was going to be $75, I figured, to do this with wire, with heavy wire, and even the 6-gauge wire was going to be that much. So, but I went to Harbor Freight and I see they have these booster cables. I bought 3 of these. Anyway, one for the front, from the battery to the charger, and then from the charger back to the back of the truck, and then from the trailer, I figured I'll have a little bit extra left over, but even at that, $14 for the box at 16 feet is not a bad. So I might have $45 or something like that into wire, but it's probably half of what I would spend if I ordered it just the wire online. So anyway, there's a tip. Okay, looking underneath the truck, you can see where I found the chassis ground. And then you can see everything zip tied about every foot. And I'm coming back from the battery. You can see it running along, and then it goes, let's see if I get some light here. Goes past this seat box, you know, for tools that are in the back of the seat. And then comes into the hole with a grommet around it. I found this grommet at an auto supply store that fits the 1.1/8" hole, and you can see there's another option for a bigger hole in that box underneath the seat. But that's where I'm coming in and going out, and I'm going to put some silicone in there to seal it on both sides. Then this is going to continue out. You can see a zip tie right there. This is pretty tight right here. And then it goes on back to the back bumper, which I'll show you in a later video how that comes out. And I put an Anderson clip on that. That will go back to the trailer itself. So you can see I ran my positive wire up from underneath the frame of the vehicle, making sure I wasn't close to anything that got hot. And I am going to zip tie those along on maybe a foot spacing underneath the truck. And then when I came to the battery, there is this really nice high amp bus bar that's on the battery, and so pop this cover off, and you'll find two empty ones on my truck. This, I think it had a 240 amp or 250 amp fuse on it. I've replaced that fuse with a 60 amp. This post was a little longer than this one. This is an 8mm post, and this is probably a 6 maybe. I don't know. It's a smaller one, but it's a little longer, so it will take my 6 amp fuse, and I'll connect my positive to this and cover back on. And as far as the negative is concerned, RAM has this, it's called an intelligent battery sensor on it. And it basically is a battery management system. And they want all of the negative terminals to go through this. And so it was a little confusing to me, because there's a lot of things that are hooked up to the frame, a lot of other grounds that are using the frame. So it seems to me you could use the frame, even though the directions in the Renogy book say that you need to go right back to the battery. I ended up calling Renogy and asking them, and I told them I had this on my truck, and they just said use the chassis. Don't screw with that. Just bypass that and use the chassis. So that chassis bolt that I found underneath close to the hole is what I'm going to use, and I think that'll work out just fine and save a little wire in the long run. So this is a shot of the input side of the charger, and this is a shot of the output side of the charger. You can see that I made a loop on the positive side that comes around and comes in here on this this little terminal block. I have a 50 amp fuse, and then here's the wire that's going to come out and goes down back down through the same hole in the bottom here that we were talking about, and goes down through the truck and out to the back gate, where I'm going to have an Anderson coupler on there. So the last thing you want to do is connect the power, that little green faced connector right here. You need to run power to that. Left hand side is 40 amp, the right hand side is 20 amp. So if the left hand side is on power and the right hand side is on power, then you're getting 20 amps of service. If it's just the 40, if just the left hand side is on, then it runs at the 40 amp charge. So that's the last thing we have to do is run these wires, and what I'm going to do is run those wires down through this trim along the side of the truck to the front, and we'll show you exactly what we're going to do with that. That'll be the final connection, and everything should be running. Before we talk about the wiring, I want to say that I don't really have the auxiliary switches here like some folks have for their trucks. I do have this panel here. I thought maybe this would be a good spot to put two switches on, because I need one for the 40 amp and one for the 20 amp. But I don't really want to drill holes in my dash. I guess I was thinking of other spots that I might be able to put switches, that I could drill holes in. But again, I'm not a real fan of doing that, because I might want to take this charger out of this vehicle, and I don't want to make a whole bunch of holes. So what I decided to do was I bought a project box, and I have put that project box right down here, and right now it's loose, and I haven't wired it yet. But this seems to be an excellent spot for it down here. You've got a nice little bay back here that I think I could drill a hole back in here if I take this console out a little bit. There's only 4 bolts really holding this center console in. The nice thing about this size box, I think it's that's probably a 3 by 6 inch box, project box that I bought on Amazon. It fits perfectly in there. I could put a couple Velcro strips one side and the other, and it would hold it in place nicely. And I have marked it already here as if this switch is on, that would be the 40 amp charging. And if that is on, and then I switch this on, A plus B equals 20 amps. Now it's cut the power to 20 amps, and so that's what I'm after with the switches. So this little project box, I think, is going to work out really well, and I think I've come to a nice solution there. This little deal here is just my tire. TST tire deal. It fits on that shelf really nicely, and my phone fits over here on this side. So this is nice because when this closes, it closes almost, hides it nicely. And these switches, I got aluminum or illuminating switches, so I should be able to see those down in that compartment really easily. So anyway, that's the solution. It also does not hinder this plug at all. So this inverter down there. So it's going to work out, I think, really well. So stay tuned. I'll show you my wiring diagram and the wire that I used for this final connection. So for this project, I have selected this red and black 12-volt wire. It's 16 gauge and will work, I think, perfect for the application of the 40 amp switch and the 20 amp switch. I've also chose to get Anderson connectors, and I bought those through PowerWorks, along with some protective boots that I'm going to put these on the hitch, and also hitch of my truck, and then the hitch of the trailer. So it should work out pretty well, I think. I'll show you that when I get that installed. But then here's the wiring diagram, and you can see what I'm going to do here is run this wire, red and black wire, from the Renogy charger. The red will be on the 40 amp side, and the black will be on the 20 amp side. And I'll run that through the trim of the truck, through the pillar, into and behind the dash, and then come over into the center console area with a hole, and I will mount that project box right there. That's where one wire will go, and then the other wire I am going to run from the fuse box just on this side of the battery, on the front of the battery, and connect it to a fuse in there, and then it has to be a run ignition only fuse, which I will discover to find out which fuse that is in just a little bit. And then I'm going to run that black portion of that wire to a ground. So I won't have to try to find a ground in this area. I'll already have it attached to this wire. It'll go through the firewall and come into the console and into that project box as well. So the wiring, this is looking at it from the back side coming in. This is the wire that comes in from the Renogy, and this is the wire that comes in from the battery. So the red wire, if you follow the red wire, will go, these switches are Pipco switches. It's got 3 terminals on the back, power device, which is Renogy, and then this is a ground. So I run the red wire to the device switch, which is in the middle. Then I run, I split this, I splice this wire with another wire that comes over and comes into the power side of this switch, which is the 20 amp switch. So when this, and this is where the power is coming in, you want that red wire to go to the power, and this is going to go to the ground, all 3 grounds, or 2 grounds here, plus the ground from the chassis will ground there. But this is considered, I guess, a daisy chain, where when you throw the power switch up here, power is on this, and then it will go to this switch. You can control this switch then. So only this switch will only work when this switch is on. So it's pretty simple wiring diagram, but it's basically A plus B equals 20 amp, and just A by itself turned on is 40 amps. And that's how I'm going to do it. So I pre-wired the project box for my charger prior to install. So once I drill a hole here and bring the wires in, it'll be easy to connect. So and by the way, this project box is in fact, I found the packaging for it, so I thought I would just show you. It's a 60 by 90 millimeter project box, and I think this is called Pin Fox waterproof. And I bought this off of Amazon, made in China. But anyway, I pre-wired this, so when I bring the wires in, the black and the red from the charger, the red wire will go into this splicer right here, and that of course will splice onto the project or the device, the second one down, the device pin on the A switch. And the black terminal is going to be the 20 amp, and so that goes to the B, and that goes to the device down here in the middle. So I've that is pre-done so that all you have to do is snap them into place there. And then when you bring the power in, after it comes from the fuse box with a ground. The ground, of course, will go to the ground, and the power will go to the A terminal, to the power's terminal right here. So anyway, just thought I would show you the actual wiring instead of the wiring diagram. Well, I got the wiring all done, and everything worked out as planned. So I also buttoned up the connectors on the back of the truck and caulked underneath the truck the hole that have the 6-gauge wire going through. And I'm pretty well set here. I'll show you the final product and kind of a run through maybe a few other little tips that I have along the way. Let's look at the upfront wiring first. You can see that this 6-gauge wire comes up to this bus bar. I put the positive wire on this terminal on this high amp bus bar, and this is a 60-gauge fuse on this as well. I removed what was a 240 amp fuse, and I think that was just put on for maybe a plow or something like that. This was an add-on to this Ram heavy duty. I bought this truck used, so I didn't order it, but I'm happy to have this option because it also included a higher or heavy duty alternator, which puts out 220 amps of power. So that's a real plus, I think. A lot of things on this truck I really like. It's hard to beat a Ram as far as that goes. It's very simple, simplistic truck as far as things that you can do yourself, work on yourself. Where I know some of the other vehicles, you almost have to have somebody else to work on those diesels. That's the nice thing about a Ram is it seems like you can do a lot of projects yourself on it. Plus, I like the low torque that it has for a long haul pulling. Can't beat it. It's a great truck. So let's see when it comes to the Tappa fuse for the power on the DC to DC charger. I found this fuse right here. It's like the third 10 amp fuse in the row. It's F96 actually. It's right in here. This Tappa fuse hangs over quite a ways, so you can't see. Let's see, I can just pull it out here. You can see right where it goes. I think it's an important one. You can see right there. That's it. So it's the fourth one up, and it's a 10 amp fuse. And I put I put another 10 amp fuse in there for the 40 amp switch, and I think that's going to work out really well. So that's how that goes. So that goes back and goes back through the firewall. The firewall is a little tricky. You have to take this second fuse box out. Not out, but just take the screws out and pull it out of the way, and then reach your hand back down in there. You can see all my injuries, my battle scars. I've been licking my wounds ever since I did that. There's a bit large cable that comes through the firewall down there. Right at the bottom of that cable is a hole from the inside, which turns into a boot that's sealed. So you need to reach down there with a utility knife and cut that off, and then fish a cable through and pull your wires, and that worked out actually quite well. So inside the truck, nothing really changed too much. I think I told you I was going to take this console out with the 4 screws, but I couldn't get it out. I mean, I loosened it up and the whole thing rocked up and down. It's attached someplace up in the front, so instead I just drilled a hole in the well down there a 3/8 inch hole, and then fished a wire through and pulled a cable through, and I pulled a wire back through that, and so that worked out pretty well. And there's my boxes you saw before. Everything is working in good shape. So I'll show you now the rear of the truck. This is, as I mentioned, I really cleaned this all up in here. It's it looks like you'd only have a wire coming up here. There's two wires coming up, one coming down and one going up from the battery, and you can't really see it anymore. It's nicely hidden, and of course my charger is back here, and all my wires, including my two wires for the switches, right there, all connected. I have another 50 amp fuse here that runs back out and out to the bumper. So the last thing I want to do is show you the back Anderson connector. And we're having a hell of a windstorm today, so I don't know what the heck's going on, but it's pretty severe. Anyway, I wanted to show you where I put the Anderson connector, just above the 7-pin, which is a convenient spot. I put it through this wrench hole for the spare tire, and there's plenty of room. You pull this to the side to get the wrench in there to lower the spare tire, but I thought that was a great spot for it. And I have it on this PowerWorks connector, and I'll have the 7-pin come up with the power cord attached to it, zip tied, and I can just take the end of it, plug it in, and that'll go back to my trailer and charge my lithium batteries. So that completes the video on the Renogy 40 amp DC to DC charger install. I hope we've been able to pick up a few tips, particularly if you have one of these heavy duty trucks. Sometimes it helps to have somebody else go through that process and save you a little bit of time in your install. So I'll see you on some other videos.